Shedeur Sanders entered the league with the kind of hype that makes front offices salivate. Charisma? Check. Arm strength? Absolutely. Football IQ? Way above average. Oh, and not to mention he's been groomed under the spotlight his entire life. When you grow up as Deion Sanders' kid, cameras and pressure are basically your siblings. So stepping into the NFL? Just another Tuesday for Shedeur. But despite his stellar preseason, why is this man not starting? Here's where things get juicy. Enter the Miami Dolphins. When the Dolphins, even with Tua Tagovailoa in tow, start expressing interest in a rookie quarterback, you know the league is paying attention. You don't sniff around for a backup unless you think that backup could very quickly become the guy.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
The fact that Miami is willing to even entertain a trade means they see something in Shedeur that Cleveland clearly doesn't, or refuses to admit exists. And they're not alone. Atlanta, New England, Minnesota, teams are circling like hawks watching Cleveland stall, knowing every game Sanders doesn't play is another inch closer to a meltdown. Because here's the thing, when the league smells weakness, it doesn't politely walk away. It kicks in the door, flashes a trade offer, and leaves you in shambles if you're not ready. And Cleveland? They are not ready. Andrew Berry reportedly reacted to the Dolphins' interest with shock. Like actual surprise. Which raises the question, what planet is he living on? Did he not see the preseason tapes? Did he miss the fan-made highlight reels? Has he completely tuned out the daily chorus of Browns fans begging for Shedeur to take the field? Because let's be clear, the fans know. They've been through every QB blunder you can imagine. They feel when something special is brewing. And right now, they're watching that special something get iced out by a franchise that somehow never learns. Social media has fully turned into a battleground. Edits of Shedeur in a Dolphins jersey? Everywhere. Polls asking if he should be traded? Blowing up. Threads calling out Stefanski's decision-making? Endless. It's getting so intense that you half expect Browns Twitter to collectively rent a plane with a free Shedeur banner. And here's the kicker. If Cleveland keeps dragging its feet, Shedeur can walk. He can demand a trade. He can ask out. And someone, probably Miami, will happily answer that call with a premium offer and a jersey waiting. What happens then? You lose a quarterback who could have changed your franchise's destiny. You watch him thrive in another system, in another city where they actually want him. You become the team that gave up on potential, again. And the worst part? You don't just lose a player. You lose the fans. Because at some point, even the most loyal dog pound can only bark so much before it stops caring altogether. This whole situation is starting to feel less like a football decision and more like a pride battle. Stefanski, known for his control-freak tendencies and aversion to flashy risk, is reportedly still pushing a system-first mentality. The system, by the way, that hasn't exactly been lighting up scoreboards lately. But instead of adapting, instead of letting Shedeur shine, he's clinging to a plan that feels like it was built in 2019 and refuses to acknowledge it's 2025. Let's hand out a fake award, shall we? That, I swear he just needs one more season lifetime achievement trophy, goes to the Browns coaching staff for their tireless commitment to the art of waiting too long. You've seen quarterbacks miss windows before, but this is turning hesitation into an Olympic sport. And while they hesitate, the rest of the league moves fast. Quarterback talent is the most valuable currency in the NFL. It wins games. It sells tickets. It defines legacies. Miami isn't waiting around for Stefanski to see the light. They've got the offense, the weapons, and the ambition. If they land Shedeur, that's lights out. He fits their system like Wi-Fi at a Starbucks. Instant connection, no glitches. Now imagine the Browns watching him torch them from the other sideline next season. Oh, the irony. And look, this isn't just about one player. It's about what the entire fiasco represents. The ego. The indecision. The refusal to adapt. This is how teams implode. Not with one massive mistake, but with 1,000 little ones they refuse to acknowledge. They don't crash overnight, they erode. Slowly. Quietly. Publicly. Meanwhile, Shedeur is handling all this like a pro. No messy quotes. No sideline tantrums. Just that calm, confident stare that says, I'll play when I'm ready, somewhere. It's the energy of someone who knows their value and doesn't need to beg for a spotlight. And that, more than anything, should terrify Cleveland. Because the league is watching. The fans are watching. And the clock is ticking. If Cleveland doesn't make a move, soon, they're not just losing a quarterback. They're writing another chapter in their ever-expanding anthology of how not to run a franchise. So here we are. The Dolphins have made their interest known. The vultures are circling. The fans are furious. And Shedeur? He's just waiting for someone to bet on him. The question is, will it be Cleveland, or someone smarter? Because in this league, hesitation isn't strategy, it's surrender. And if the Browns aren't careful, they're about to surrender the best chance they've had in decades. Don't let this kind of drama unfold without your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Shedeur force his way out? Is Cleveland making the biggest mistake of the decade? And if you enjoyed this wild ride, hit that subscribe button for more unfiltered NFL chaos. This saga isn't over, not by a long shot. Let's not pretend Shedeur's potential is some deep-cut industry secret. This kid didn't sneak into the league. He entered with the kind of attention most rookies would kill for. ESPN segments, Instagram reels, former players singing his praises. The NFL is a copycat league, and when someone sees a young quarterback make magic out of nothing during preseason, every other GM starts doing math. How many firsts would it take? What's their cap situation? Could he work in our scheme? And that's exactly what's happening now. The Dolphins just happen to be the first ones bold enough to say the quiet part out loud. But you can bet they won't be the last. Meanwhile, over in Cleveland, you've got this bizarre refusal to move forward. Stefanski and his staff are acting like they've got Tom Brady 2007 under center, when in reality, they're trotting out the same mid-tier carousel that hasn't delivered anything but heartbreak and Twitter memes. But this isn't even about who's currently playing. This is about what's not happening. There's no clear plan, no transparency, no vision. Just a bunch of press conferences filled with vague platitudes like, he's developing well, and we're taking it day by day. Translation? They have no idea what to do with him and they're stalling. Now let's address the other elephant in the room, ego. It's always ego. Because if Shedeur had been their guy, drafted at the top of the first round with the front office fully behind him, he'd be playing already. No question. But instead he feels like the bonus prize. The shiny toy they didn't ask for but somehow ended up with. And that's the problem. When teams can't get over the fact that greatness doesn't always come wrapped in the box they expected, they sabotage themselves. We've seen it before. Aaron Rodgers sat way too long. Lamar Jackson was doubted for years. Heck, even Patrick Mahomes was benched behind Alex Smith for a while. But the difference is, those franchises eventually got out of their own way. The Browns? They're still setting up cones around their own talent like it's wet cement. Meanwhile, Shedeur is standing there, game-ready, helmet in hand, waiting for someone, anyone, to stop overthinking and just let him cook. And now the Dolphins want to give him that kitchen. Let's dive into what that might look like for a second. Miami has the weapons. They've got Tyreek. They've got Waddle. They've got a coach in Mike McDaniel who actually knows how to scheme for explosive talent instead of forcing everyone into a rigid playbook from the Cold War era. Imagine Shedeur in that offense. Fast reads. Deep shots. Designed rollouts. The kind of system where confidence thrives and improvisation isn't punished. It's celebrated. The man could throw for 300 yards before the fourth quarter and be back on the sideline drinking Gatorade with the game already iced. And if that happens? If Shedeur gets traded, if he balls out, and Cleveland is left watching the highlight reels on mute while they're stuck in another 7-10 season? That's franchise-defining failure. That's 30 for 30 levels of mismanagement. That's every ex's worst nightmare. Watching the one that got away glow up somewhere else while you're still eating frozen pizza in your sweatpants. But wait, there's more. Because this situation doesn't just affect Shedeur. It sends a message to the entire locker room. When players see a rising star get benched for no clear reason, they start asking questions. About leadership. About fairness. About whether the team is really trying to win or just trying to look like they're in control. And let's not forget the rookies. The young guys coming in watching how the organization treats one of their own. If they see talent ignored, if they see a coaching staff more concerned with appearances than performance, it plants seeds of doubt. And that spreads fast. Culture isn't what you put in the media guide. It's what happens behind the scenes. And right now, Cleveland's culture looks like a PowerPoint presentation with no substance. But the fans? Oh, the fans are not here for it. They've seen too much. They've endured too many years of wait and see, and next year for sure. They are tired of being patient. And they are not staying silent. Every tweet, every meme, every TikTok edit of Shedeur in another jersey, it's a protest. A loud, messy digital protest. And the front office is pretending not to hear it. Which brings us to the real danger, silence. Because when an organization stays quiet in the middle of a storm, fans start filling in the blanks themselves. And the conclusions they're drawing? Not flattering. Words like incompetent, arrogant, and scared are getting thrown around. Whether it's true or not, perception is reality in the NFL. And right now, the perception is Cleveland is asleep at the wheel. Shedeur doesn't have to say a word. He doesn't have to throw shade or go rogue. The entire story is unfolding without him lifting a finger. Because the longer he sits, the louder the noise gets. And the longer Cleveland waits, the more it looks like they've got no clue what they're doing. And let's be honest, how many other teams would kill to be in Cleveland's shoes right now? A young, marketable, elite-level quarterback on a rookie contract? That's the dream. That's the exact scenario teams trade their future for. But instead of cashing in, the Browns are treating it like an inconvenient luxury. So here we are. September's ticking by. Trade rumors are swirling. Players are watching. Fans are restless. And Shedeur is standing there, still on the sidelines, still waiting for a shot he's already earned 10 times over. Will Cleveland wise up? Will they finally take the reins off and let their future franchise QB do what he was literally drafted to do? Or will they double down, hold the line, and let another team snatch greatness right out from under them? Tick-tock Browns. The league doesn't wait for anyone. And if you think the Dolphins are the only ones with their eyes on Shedeur Sanders, think again. Every team that's ever missed on a quarterback is watching this unfold like it's the last 5 minutes of a thriller movie. This isn't just about a trade. It's about a reckoning. Will the Browns evolve? Or will they once again prove that the only thing consistent about them is self-sabotage? You have a front office that's forced to pretend this is all part of some grand strategy. You know the type, those press conferences where everyone's lips are tight, but their eyes are screaming, "We might have just messed this up big time." Suddenly, Stefanski starts dropping phrases like internal evaluation process and multi-year plan, like they're incense meant to cleanse the stench of indecision. Meanwhile, fans are outside the stadium with signs that say, "Play Shedeur or pack your bags." Let's be honest here, this isn't strategy. This is stalling. This is what happens when a franchise that's allergic to risk gets handed a generational quarterback and starts breaking out in hives. But let's entertain the opposite scenario for a second. Let's say Cleveland does wake up. Let's say they have their "wait, are we the drama?" moment and decide to start Shedeur before the whole situation explodes. What happens? Simple. He balls out. Because this isn't some fantasy scenario pulled out of thin air. We've seen it. The poise in the pocket. The laser throws into tight coverage. The leadership on the sidelines. Shedeur doesn't play like a rookie. He plays like someone who's been doing this since Pop Warner and was already watching game film in kindergarten. Give him the start and the whole team changes. The offense gets faster. More aggressive. The crowd wakes up. The energy shifts. Suddenly, receivers are running harder routes because they believe the ball is coming. The offensive line digs a little deeper because they're protecting a future, not just filling time. Momentum becomes contagious. And maybe, just maybe, Cleveland wins. Like really wins. Playoffs? Not a pipe dream. A real shot. But you know what's tragic? We might never see it. Because egos don't just stall progress, they kill it. And Cleveland's leadership right now looks like it's stuck in this weird purgatory between "we don't trust the kid" and "we're scared he might make us look stupid for waiting so long." That's the worst of both worlds. You either trust your player and go all in, or you trade him before the value dips. But this half measure, this limbo? It's death by indecision. It's like watching someone try to merge onto the highway doing 35 while everyone else is flying past at 90. Sooner or later there's going to be a crash. And speaking of the crash, let's not forget the human element here. Shedeur Sanders is not a chess piece. He's not just a name on a spreadsheet or a trade asset. He's a person, a young quarterback with expectations, dreams, and a career on the line. Sitting him week after week, game after game, sends a message: "We don't believe in you." And that sticks. Players remember. They remember who backed them. Who didn't? Who kept them on the bench while teams like the Dolphins were blowing up your phone trying to build around them. That kind of disrespect doesn't fade. It calcifies. It becomes part of a player's story. And if Shedeur does leave? Oh, that revenge tour is going to be biblical. He'll circle the Browns on his schedule like it's personal. And when that day comes, and let's be real, it will come, he won't need to say a word. He'll let his stats do the talking. A 3-touchdown, 300-yard clinic at First Energy Stadium, with the entire dog pound watching in stunned silence. A live-action ghosting. But back to reality, for now the Browns still have him. That window is still cracked open. The question is whether they have the guts to walk through it before someone else slams it shut. And speaking of someone else, let's really dig into the Dolphins' role in all this. Miami's interest isn't just opportunistic. It's calculated. They're not chasing chaos. They see an opening. They're sniffing out dysfunction and treating it like a clearance sale. Because that's what good franchises do. They capitalize on other teams' confusion. They're looking at Cleveland and saying, "You don't want this guy? Cool. We'll take him. And we'll win with him." It's that simple. And you can bet other teams are watching the same soap opera unfold. Atlanta's checking their cap space. Minnesota's whispering in meeting rooms. The Patriots, who are one quarterback short of relevance, are probably drawing up trade packages over lunch. It's a frenzy. A full-blown quarterback gold rush. And Cleveland? Still staring at the map, wondering if they should start digging. This is how legacies get written, or erased. There's no middle ground. Either you pull the trigger, trust your talent, and let your franchise evolve, or you become the punchline in every barbershop debate about teams that ruin their own future. And trust me, Cleveland doesn't need more punchlines. They've had decades of them. This could be different. This should be different. But it's not. Because while the NFL moves like a shark, constantly forward, Cleveland is acting like a deer frozen in headlights. And in this league? That gets you flattened. The most infuriating part? The answer is right there. Literally on your sideline. Wearing your jersey. Ready. Focused. Calm under pressure. Just waiting for someone to stop second-guessing and finally say, "You're our guy." But instead, it's trade talks and awkward pressers and tense sideline shots where Shedeur looks like he's mentally calculating which team would actually use him properly. Spoiler alert, it's not the one he's currently on. So what's it going to be, Cleveland? Are you going to keep running the same tired playbook of fear and pride? Or are you going to take a leap, finally, and play the quarterback who could turn your whole trajectory around? Because make no mistake, someone will take that leap. And when they do, you're going to watch your own future hoist touchdowns on a different field, under different lights, with fans that actually believe in him. And all you'll have left is regret. You can't slow play a star. Not in this league. Not when every team is one quarterback away from flipping their entire season. Not when half your fans are already mentally photoshopping him into another jersey. Not when the guy you're benching has every tool to become the face of your franchise. Let's talk about that word for a second, franchise. It's what every team is hunting for. That quarterback who defines your team's identity. The guy you build around. The guy who wins you games even when the playbook falls apart. The guy who makes everyone else better. And yet, Cleveland is acting like they found a gently used backup off Craigslist and not a potential top 5 QB. It's giving denial. It's giving fear of commitment. It's giving, "We don't deserve nice things." And what's worse? The clock is ticking. Because every second they waste playing the maybe later game, Shedeur's value is shifting, and not in their favor. Here's the playbook that's actually being run right now behind the scenes. Other teams are watching the dysfunction like hawks. Every passive-aggressive Stefanski quote, every sideline shot of Shedeur bored out of his mind with a headset on, every game where Cleveland sputters through 3 quarters before a garbage-time touchdown, it's all being filed away. Because those teams know something very simple. Cleveland is going to have to make a decision soon. And it's not going to be on their terms. At some point, Shedeur's camp is going to get tired of waiting. The calls are going to start coming in louder. His agent is going to start making noise. The media is going to stop asking if he'll get traded and start asking when. And once that tipping point hits, Cleveland's leverage? Gone. Poof. At that point, you're not negotiating from power. You're begging to not look stupid. And trust me, other teams can smell desperation like sharks smell blood. They'll lowball. They'll bluff. And eventually they'll get what they want, because Cleveland won't have a choice. So what's the other option? You roll the dice. You start him. You own the moment instead of running from it. Let Shedeur step onto the field with the pressure of the world on his shoulders and show the league why everyone has been drooling over his potential. Give the fans a reason to believe again. Give the team a reason to fight. And look, we know the argument. What if he's not ready? What if it's too soon? What if it doesn't go well? To that we say, welcome to the NFL. Every quarterback walks into the fire at some point. The great ones don't wait for perfect conditions. They create them. Mahomes sat a year. Lamar got tossed in midseason. Justin Herbert found out he was starting 5 minutes before kickoff because a doctor punctured his teammate's lung. There's no perfect timing. You either believe in your guy or you don't. And right now, it looks like Cleveland is trying to play both sides. We love his potential, but also, we're being cautious. Translation? They're scared. Scared to commit. Scared to be wrong. Scared to hand the keys to someone who didn't come with their stamp of approval. And you know who that fear hurts the most? The fans. Because for them this isn't politics. It's passion. They're watching the team they've lived and died for decades fumble the one thing they've begged for since the Brady era. A young, exciting quarterback with superstar upside. They're not asking for miracles. They're asking for effort, clarity, a plan. Instead, they're getting smoke signals and weird interviews in a quarterback room that looks more like a game of duck duck goose than a strategic roster. And don't think for a second that the locker room isn't feeling it too. Veterans can tell when there's a spark. Players know when a guy is the real deal. And when they watch Shedeur getting second-team reps while the offense dies a slow death on Sundays, that frustration spreads. At some point, even the most loyal locker room starts whispering, "Why aren't we playing the kid? What are we protecting? Do they even want to win, or just be right?" And once those whispers start, morale goes out the window. You can't lead a team with half-truths. You can't coach with a locked jaw and crossed arms. You can't run a franchise like you're trying not to get in trouble with your own ego. You have to choose. So what's it going to be, Cleveland? Are you going to do the thing that scares you? Are you going to let go of this safe plan that hasn't worked for 25 years and finally take the leap? Because Shedeur Sanders isn't going to wait forever. And neither are your fans. Or your players. Or the rest of the NFL, which is salivating at the thought of you blinking first. And if you do? If you hold him back for 1 week too long, one press conference too many, one more 3 and out to protect your pride, he's gone. And when that happens, when he's lighting up defenses in another uniform while you're stuck watching your offense average 14 points a game, you won't just be dealing with disappointment. You'll be dealing with legacy-level regret. The kind that follows you for years. The kind that gets your name brought up in the same sentence as draft bust, and missed opportunity, and one of the worst front office calls in modern history. The kind that gets replayed every time he throws a touchdown on your field against you in prime time. But hey, maybe that's what it'll take. Maybe Cleveland has to get burned before it learns. Maybe they have to watch their future run into the arms of someone else just to realize what they lost. We hope not. We want them to get it right. We want Shedeur to be what he was always meant to be. A leader, a playmaker, a franchise quarterback who brings Cleveland out of the darkness and into relevance again. But wanting doesn't make it so. And until someone in that building stops protecting their pride and starts protecting their future, we're just watching a slow-motion tragedy. The question isn't if it ends badly. It's how soon. Alright, you know the drill, let's talk. Should Cleveland give Shedeur the reins now or trade him before things get even messier? Which team should go all in to steal him? Drop your hottest takes in the comments and smash that subscribe button if you want the real drama delivered every week. Because in this league, the stories write themselves. We're just here to spill the tea.